Mike's Daily Podcast.
Welcome to Mike Matthews.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
And it's episode 2644, 2644. It's Mike Matthews, and I'm back for more. It's going to be a podcast that is from Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton. It's a nice hot day. It's hot, probably wherever you are, or if you
Mike's Daily Podcast
are listening to this 6 months later. It's cold where you are, probably. So yeah,
Mike's
in the summer
Daily
all the people
Podcast
that are believers of climate change say, look what's happening. Gas in the air, greenhouse gases, and now this is what happens. And then in the winter, when it gets super cold, all the people on the right are like, no, see, it's too cold. There's no such thing as global warming. It's too cold. And it goes back and forth. It's ridiculous. That's something I've noticed. Hey, it's a podcast where Mike notices things. Thank you for listening to it. So, Hollywood strike is continuing. The strike, rolling up the red carpet, Hollywood's picket lines could grow longer as more showbiz workers fight for better contracts. So this has been going on since May. There are something like 11,000 writers in the Writers Guild of America. They went on strike to demand higher pay and stronger job protections. Actors got in the spotlight with the SAG-AFTRA union, covering 160,000 entertainers, also failed to get better terms from studios. A-listers from Meryl Streep to Jennifer Lawrence prepared to strike. If SAG didn't reach a deal, the writer's strike is costing...
And here's today's podcast picture.
Ooh, I gotta find a podcast picture. Yeah, the writer's strike is said to be costing California something like $30 million a day. And if it runs over 100 days, about $81 billion in direct wages from 800,000 films and TV jobs could be at risk. Hollywood's lights reach beyond the stars. The film and TV biz creates 2 million plus jobs in the U.S., contributing $186 billion in annual wages. A single film shot on location. Oh, look! The late great Basil the Boxer. I filmed him many a time. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. I took a really good picture last night. Should I post this one? Yeah. Okay. This was last night up in the hills above Podcastro Valley in this area we call Columbia. Though nobody is... Well, maybe there's some people from Columbia there, but it's not the state, or the country rather. It's in the state of California, and I don't even think it's just like a little area called Columbia. I guess it's a HOA thing, and they called it Columbia. Anyway, see this picture. It's amazing. I'm just blown away. I was going to post something like from Benita or some other cool place I went to during my week off, but this is amazing. See it at mikesdailypodcast.com. And I took Basil to this spot many times when he was on this earth. So yes, the film and TV biz creates 2 million plus jobs in the U.S., $186 billion in annual wages, and a single film that is shot on location can add $250,000 a day to the local economy. That includes hotels, and they always got to have their veggie trays. Even though I don't know, I wonder how many actors and people working in the background, the gaffers, the cinematographers, all the other folk get sick off of like bad cheese on those veggie trays. Well, I guess that's not a cheese is not a veggie, but still, there's often cheese and crudité and all that. Tinseltown could lose its sparkle as studios look outside the U.S. Netflix, for instance. In the U.S., Netflix said it would spend $2.5 billion on Korean content in the next few years. They hit a home run with the Squid Games TV show thingy And that was like all the rage. That was maybe 2 years ago? In fact, Netflix has an extra $1.5 billion in cash flow thanks to the strike. This according to Fortune.com. Eleanor Pringle wrote this. Striking Hollywood writers aren't hurting streaming giants like Netflix. This is something that came out on Thursday.
Fair and unbalanced.
Quite like they wanted to, they're not striking Netflix. In fact, it's freeing up over $1 billion in cash for the business. In their quarterly call for the second quarter this year, in their earnings call, Netflix CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters outlined their desire to bring the strike to a close as soon as possible. But the pair sidestepped claims that they were going to run out of content for the platform, adding that they had increased their free cash flow forecast for 2023 from $3.5 billion to $5 billion.
Right.
As a result of shuttered production.
First of all, I just want to thank everyone for joining us here on this show. This is great.
He was interviewed. This is Ted Sarandos. He was interviewed by Bank of America's analyst Jessica Reif-Ehrlich, and he said he came from a union family himself, adding, "These strikes are not an outcome that we wanted. We're super committed to getting to an agreement as soon as possible, one that's equitable, and one that enables the industry and everybody to move forward into the future."
Okay. All right. Let's go.
And so members of the Writers Guild, which is reportedly around 6,000 members, have refused to work since May 2nd. They were then followed by the Screen Actors Guild and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, known as SAG-AFTRA. That happened starting on the 13th of this month. The last time SAG-AFTRA, Hollywood's largest union, which represents 160,000 film and television actors, joined the Writers Guild of America, that was in 1960. So what they did in response to that, TV, since there were no shows, they just ran movies all the time. Though this was actually in the year 1960, before you were born. Probably. Definitely before I was born.
What in the world is that about?
The current strike arose out of demands for increase in pay, as well as writers and actors asking for a greater portion of earnings from shows and movies that appear on streaming services. As we go outside of Café Anyway, where we bring you Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on Earth. That's about that. So the bottom line is the bottom line could be further boosted. This is the bottom line. Their bottom line could be further boosted by Netflix announcing it was pulling its lowest price ad subscription of $9.99 a month. Customers already on the plan can continue with it, but new or returning signups won't be able to access the bottom rung of the pricing ladder. It gone.
Mike's Daily Podcast Master Pod Eater.
Despite sales growing 2.7% in the quarter to $8.19 billion, Netflix's quarter for the third quarter expectations failed to impress Wall Street. As a result, shares in Netflix fell by approximately 7%. This was on Thursday morning. So there we go. Now, it has something to do with AI. A lot of these script writers going, hey, they're going to use AI to write all most TV shows and movies seem like they were written by AI. I mean, Fast and Furious, part 27,000, whatever it is on now. It must be AI. Well, Sarah Silverman is not laughing when it comes to the AI company ChatGPT. She's now suing OpenAI and Meta, along with two other authors named Christopher Golden and Richard Kadri, alleging that ChatGPT and LLAMA, or Llama, is that Llama, have both been trained on the trio's copyrighted books. Silverman, Golden, and Kadri argue in the respective complaints, which were filed on July 7th here in Northern California, that OpenAI's ChatGPT and Meta's Llama were trained on copyrighted material, which included published literary works from the trio. While both OpenAI and Meta make mention that they do not train on copyrighted material, the authors allege that some of the training data, and that's what all that AI does, all of its guts come from data that it is trained on. So it could come from all kinds of places. And this is very interesting that Sarah Silverman is saying, hey, calling them out, that some of the training data came from a shadow library of sources like Library Genesis, Z Library, Sci-Hub, and Bibliothèque, which are internet-based torrent repositories that include copyrighted books. In an exhibit from the author's lawsuit, the plaintiffs asked ChatGPT to recite excerpts from Silverman's book, The Bedwetter, to which it relayed passages from the memoir verbatim. By the way, when you do ChatGPT and you ask it a question and it gives you an answer, but the answer is completely wrong, they call that an AI hallucination. That's what I heard from one tech guy today. Silverman, OpenAI, and Meta did not immediately return Gizmodo's request for comment. This article came from Gizmodo, and it was written by Kevin Hurler.
We love you, Mike.
That's why we pay Mike the big bucks, or someone pays him.
Absolutely.
So we'll see where this ends up. Sarah Silverman. She's got her own podcast now where she talks to people, just random people, not like celebrities, and they ask her questions. That's what it is. They come up with some bizarre questions and she answers it, like life questions, like, is it a good idea for me to quit drinking milk, or that kind of thing.
That's a nightmare of a show.
Disney is my I don't own any Disney stock, and I've known many people that have, and they used to go, ooh, I have Disney stock, look at me, I love Disney, look at all these big blockbuster movies they come out with. Well, things took a turn somewhere in the past couple of years, and now they got Bob Iger back. And check this out. Visitors to Disney theme parks are encountering something they haven't seen in a while: elbow room. Yes, it was so crazy busy like a year ago. And then they launched that Star Wars hotel, and that's tanking. That's going to close up very soon. Nobody was staying there. I mean, that was ridiculous. Ridiculous. To be that you were spending like thousands of dollars a night to stay in a hotel where like all the windows are blacked out and they're just doing some fancy effects that the Imagineers have come up with. And then you've got all these cast members, quote unquote, aka Disney employees, that are dressed in all these very impressive outfits from the Star Wars movies.
Life grand.
What?
It was basically dinner theater. And I've seen video of it.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Oh my gosh. The acting is horrible. It's like, this is dinner theater. This could have just been done, I don't know, in a bad dinner theater somewhere. Or did they do those on boats now? Cruise ships? I guess they do that kind of thing on cruise ships too. Like a murder mystery. Who murdered so-and-so? And you got to figure it out. Not an escape room thing, but... So people were paying all that money for that, and it just wasn't turning out to be what anybody really wanted to do. I mean, it was some idiots that are... I'm going to be opinionated here. That never grew up. That, let's say, they were born in the late 60s or in the 70s, and they remember when Star Wars came out, and they grew up with it. Now they got kids, and they want their kids to be exposed to it, or maybe now they've got grandkids, and they want to show them the world of Star Wars. Oh, what an experience to bond. No. Find something. Go. So you're hearing all these birds behind me, and the beautiful wind blowing through the trees, and a creek, and something else going on behind Café Anyway somewhere in Podcastro Valleyton. That's where you need to be with your grandkids. They're out there in the great whatever. That's not going to be there forever. I guarantee Star Wars is going to be around forever, because there's going to be some idiot that's going to pay for a Star Wars movie, or to get Disney Plus to watch some Star Wars. There's always going to be somebody who's a sucker born every minute, P.T. Barnum, and just keep digesting this stuff. It just makes no sense to me why anyone would spend that amount of money. And most of the stuff Disney does, I don't get it. It's too much. It costs too much.
This is interesting.
Wow, this is interesting.
I can't believe. What the hell is this place anyway?
And I don't see why that's a thing. You know, you're all the way in Florida. Why don't you go to the beach? Orlando is not near the beach. You got to take a drive. Yeah. You're in the middle of the state. You got to go to either to the east or the west. Go to the ocean there, the Gulf or the Atlantic, and get in the water. Look out for the sharks. The sand sharks and everything else. But get out there and explore life. Dang it. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people that don't care for that. If they're not doing this Disney stuff, they're on the computer playing video games and getting wrapped up in the latest whatever thing Activision's doing, or Microsoft, or whatever. Well, visitors to theme parks this summer are encountering elbow room. The Independence Day weekend was one of the slowest in nearly a decade. That blows my mind. I just thought this was going to be packed. Those Disney parks are going to be packed forever. But can you imagine anything worse? You probably can, but can you imagine how awful it would be?
Hi there, Mike. How are you?
In a crowded Disney amusement park there in the middle of frickin' Florida, where it's so hot and so humid and you're sweating your eyeballs out. I've been there. I've done it. I went there with my mom to Disney World. It was a dream come true. It was fun because she and I had been to Disneyland in Anaheim many times when I was a kid.
Will you shut ups? Liberty Nation, freedom, foam for all.
And some little kid stepped on my mom's foot, and my mom had very sensitive feet. In fact, she ended up losing a leg. She had all kinds of circulation issues, peripheral artery disease, and all that stuff. And it wasn't because of the kid that she lost the leg, but she eventually did. But these kids, it was packed. They had nowhere to go but on top of my mom's feet.
Wrong.
So I would not want to be there. I love watching the YouTube videos of people that go to Disney World just to watch them suffer. Is it sadistic of me? But then there's a part of me that wishes I was there with them. Oh, that looks kind of cool. But ooh, no, look how hot it is, and it's starting to rain, and there's nowhere for them to go. They got to just stay underneath that awning somewhere on Main Street or in Tomorrowland or whatever. We came out of, so this is how far back it was. My mom and I came out of the Alien Encounter ride, which ended long ago. They replaced it then with that Lilo and Stitch character, having sort of the same storyline as Alien Encounter, but with Lilo and Stitch, and then they closed it. And I don't know what it is now. But we came out of that, and it is thunder and lightning. And I saw lightning hit the top of the rocket ship thing. There's a rocket that's pointed up at the sky, and it's got a lightning rod at the top. So I saw lightning hit that. And it spins around, and it's got little rockets sailing around it. They got one in Florida. They got one in Anaheim. I don't know if they've got one in Shanghai and Hong Kong and Europe. Where else do they have Disney? Apparently in Oklahoma, they're going to have a huge amusement park that they're building that's supposed to be as big as any of the Disney parks. The Independence Day weekend was one of the slowest in nearly a decade. Disney is offering hotel discounts around Christmas. That's typically a peak period. So if you're into that, that would be something to look into. The slowdown is the latest sign that Disney's recent price hikes and changes to park operations have actually, can you believe this? Have actually soured some families on visiting the most magical place on earth. Wow. That blows my mind, because I thought everybody was sheeple and just going to keep going to those places. But no, at some point, you cross a line. I forget the CEO who preceded Bob Iger, but he obviously didn't know that. Disneyland saw the cost of multi-day tickets by 9% or more in October, with the price of a 2-day ticket rising from $255 per day. Yes, that would be a 2-day ticket, to $285 a day for the 2-day ticket. Disney, and I remember going there as a kid, and it must have been, what, 10 or 20 bucks a day. Disney faces a unique set of challenges right now, from streaming losses, people are getting fed up with their Disney Plus, to executive succession, to a legal fight with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and his war against woke. But what's funny about that is, yes, a lot of woke, of the woke movement, a lot of that is a little pushed to the extreme and can be ridiculous and can be overly sensitive about some things that you're just like, wait, what? But the other side of it is people being completely insensitive and just not caring at all about how other people feel. And then all of a sudden we're back in the 50s again. And there's all these people that are being shunned that shouldn't be shunned. We should be enjoying each other, paying attention to each other, being respectful to each other, is what I think I'm trying to say here. That's all, in its purest form, what woke should be. But instead it's turned into this bad word to all the people on the right, it seems. Oh, and speaking of movies, now Disney didn't make this movie, but The Flash is now the worst box office flop in superhero film history. It had a budget of $220 million. That was in making the movie, and then a $150 million promotional budget. It only made about $200 million. So that is the latest there. I got that news. Oh, and Etsy jumped 8% recently in their stock. And that just shows people love Etsy. Etsy had some problems, though. Didn't they have to shut down for a while recently, or was that a couple months ago? And that would be the latest. I got that from Rob Black. I produce his podcast. He's got Rob Black and Your Money. He's on the local TV. He's on the local radio here in the Bay Area. And I produced his show yesterday morning on the board, adding sound effects and fun things. But it was so early. But it was a lot of fun. And then I produce his podcast Monday through Friday. So we're outside of Café Anyway, somewhere in Podcaster Valley, the last place on earth. And the last podcast picture was from Podcaster Valley, Lake Chabot, and those cool little kayaks. You can see it at mikesdailypodcast.com. And that was a fun podcast where we were talking about dream jobs. But look who's here right now.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. Wow, it is incredibly hot today, Mike Matthews. Have a snow globe.
Oh, yeah, these are the snow globes that are made out of snow. This is fantastic. It just melted in my hands. In my hands again.
Wow, Mike Matthews, that sounds like a song.
I think it was a band. I remember the song was called Hemorrhage in My Hands. Oh, man. Now I got to find out. Is it going to come back to my head before I can remember the name of the band? Nope, I can't remember. It was Fuel. That's it, Fuel. I say the word fuel wrong. I end up saying Phil most of the time. Fuel. Okay. That's interesting. Look who else is here.
Mike, it's Mikey Fikey.
Oh, Mike,
Great.
this is Floyd the Floorman! And this is John Deere, the engineer. Have you gotten to your segment yet about when you were on the radio years and years ago, Mike Matthews? By the way, Ron DeSantis is going after Anheuser-Busch now over that Dylan Mulvaney promotion. He's threatened them. He said, let's see, he's hinting at legal action against Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch, for the beer brand's promotion earlier this year with the TikTok star. TikTok. I just don't get that. I'm not on TikTok, please. Bud Light's March Madness promotion with Mulvaney, a transgender actress and activist. It sparked an uproar among some conservatives. And Travis Tritt and Kid Rock, who called for a boycott of the popular beer. Travis Tritt, a country star from the 90s that was quite popular. An ongoing sales slump for Bud Light has been attributed to backlash from both conservatives and the LGBTQ. There's a P in there now over the marketing campaign. In an interview with Fox News, DeSantis said that Florida's pension fund contained over $50 million worth of Anheuser-Busch shares. Bud Light's decision to team with Mulvaney was followed by a sales slump, and as a result, the state's pension fund has suffered collateral damage. When you start pursuing a political agenda at the expense of your stakeholders, that's not just impacting very wealthy people, it impacts hardworking people who are firefighters, police officers, and teachers. I just look at that clip of Dylan drinking the beer or promoting the beer, and that just seems like all kinds of, they just did it for the money. Who would watch that and actually go, oh, I think I'll drink a Bud Light now? Who would even be, I know they're supposed to be quote unquote influencers, but who would be that dumb? I don't get it. It was a weird move by Bud Light. And I just despise influencers of all types, no matter what they espouse. It's just ridiculous what has come is ridiculous about what we have, how this whole industry has arose. And I mean, I come from the radio world, and DJs have been quote unquote influencers in their own right. You know, the general manager comes up to the morning DJ and says, hey, we just signed this account with this company, this local business in town, a bar, and they're signing because they want you to talk about them on the air and promote it, and in return you're going to get a little money for it. And so that would be the way that system worked in radio. Well, now there's this whole system. It's opened up to thousands and thousands of influencers on all types of social media. And it's opened it up maybe to even you. I mean, everybody's going to get a cut of this at some point, because I think we're all influencers in our own way. I mean, how many times have you told somebody, wow, have you tried the burger at whatever place? Or have you tried the Thai food or the whatever? You know, we're always espousing how wonderful certain restaurants are, or certain movies, or, oh, you got to see this. Oh, have you listened to this song? And when we do that, we're influencers, but we don't get paid anything. As I was talking about in the last podcast with, I'm not going to be in any political party's pocket unless they pay me. And it better be a big check. And then, of course, I would let you know, because that's not right. If I were getting paid and I didn't tell you. I mean, hey, I've got this opinion about something. Oh, by the way, they're giving me a big chunk of change. But that's not going to happen anytime soon. Because you know what the blessing is of this podcast? Very few people listen, if at all. And I know that because I give out the phone number all the time and nobody ever calls it at 510-228-4640. And I'm sure nobody calls it because I say it so fast. But you can find it at my website, mikesdailypodcast.com. But you know what it is time for now? It is time for...
Let's go back with Matthews.
Live and Loco.
So back in the days before influencers, when radio was cool, just a short 20 years ago, a 20-year hop back in time, we were just starting to really see the whole world of internet starting to explode. People were getting computers, logging onto the internet, and that was that. There was no cell phones yet. There were cell phones, but no smartphones. Now, smartphones allow you to log onto the internet in no time at all. But back then, 20 years ago, just a short hop, you needed a computer or a laptop and hooked into the network. And just a few short years before that, you needed a freaking modem and a phone and that awful noise. So in these early days of the internet, I got to do a show on a country station of all places with someone named Jocelyn. And Jocelyn got into the whole internet world early on. She started her own business where she would help people advertise in the internet space, get them all set up in the internet space, be sort of a cyber advisor. I myself found out about the website service that I still use to this day for Mike'sDailyPodcast.com from her. She gave me a suggestion. I took it. And she was, I think she's still doing what it might still be called JR Media. I haven't checked it out lately, and I haven't spoken to her lately. But we did a little thing on Wednesday nights. It was like Worldwide Webs Day on Wednesday nights, late at night on the country station KH in Ventura County, where I was on the air for 11 years. And for about a year until it got canceled, not because of the show being controversial or anything, but because my boss got fired. And when he left, the new boss came in and he goes, "No, you're not going to do that. You're just going to play country music. And you're not going to talk at all." And that put the end on what we also called it Cyber Night. So Cyber Night ended right about this time on KH. So here's a little bit of that. And this is fascinating to me. I pulled this off of a cassette recently, actually during my little vacation, not last week, but the week before. And this blows my mind listening to some of this. So here we go with Let's Go Back with Matthews.
Yeah, you can answer any question, Jocelyn.
Sure I can.
Cyber Diva, Jocelyn with your questions. It's Martina McBride. KHAY, Ventura, Oxnard, Santa Barbara. 100.7 KHAY, Matt Michaels at the KH Santa Fe Cafe. That's Trace Adkins. This ain't no thinking thing. It is Cyber Night at the cafe. We're learning all kinds of fascinating things from Jocelyn. And what, ma'am?
Yes?
You had a...
Oh, by the way, that lady that I'm addressing is someone named Maha, and she was the promotions director. So we did a lot of stuff in the community. And not only did she make sure that promotions were going on for our station, but there were 3 other stations in the building. And so she was very busy, and she was there late this night, and she was friends with Jocelyn and myself. So she hung out, and I don't know if she had a couple of beers or something, had maybe a cocktail a little bit earlier in the evening, but this got kind of fun.
Did you ever find your Windows Explorer?
I found them, but I lost them again.
Okay. That pesky Windows Explorer just keeps...
Wait a minute. No, that's not Maha. That's somebody else that worked there named Neri. Neri got married, and unfortunately her family didn't come to the wedding. It was just all of us from work, and then the groom, everybody from his family showed up. So we were there kind of representing her family. It was an interesting moment. Beautiful wedding. It was in Agoura Hills, California at this hotel, but it was hot. Oh my gosh. Imagine how hot it is today. And that's what it was in Agoura Hills, where it gets really hot. And it was outside. And then inside, for the reception, inside of the hotels where it was held in the banquet room, beautiful. Every table had this amazing, what do they call it? A table plant of some kind. Beautiful art. Flowers and stuff. Nice pot arrangement. You know what I'm saying. It was decorated nicely. and there were a lot of empty tables, but we were just happy to be there. It was an interesting experience, and that was Neri. I hope she's doing well. I know the marriage didn't last, but that was a very memorable wedding.
Disappearing. Darn it. Okay, what do you got there, Jocelyn?
Actually, I was just going to ask Maha what her name means. Maha, what does your name mean?
It's a baby deer in Arabic.
A baby
deer in Arabic. And you know where she got that definition?
Where's that?
From behindthename.com. You can go to behindthename.com and type in your name, and it'll tell you what your name means. It's entomology. Have you heard of that, Matt?
Entomology.
It's the history of first names. And, I don't know what it is. All my friends are having babies, like, left and right. And they want to know what to name their kids. So you can go to this website, and it'll give you some ideas of what you can name your baby. Nombres, right?
So, right, where it says search here, I'm on it right now.
Search. Okay, put in your name.
Matt Michaels.
Matt. Just Matt. Okay, and type. Oh, there you go. Short form of Matthew. So click on Matthew.
Okay.
And it'll tell us.
This is so exciting.
It's the English form of Matthios, which was a Greek form of the Hebrew name Mattenhayu, which meant gift of Yahweh, which, Yahweh is in Hebrew is the translation for God.
Right.
So gift of God. You're the gift of God, Matt. Saint Matthew was also called Levi and was also one of the 12 apostles. And he was a tax collector. That's perfect.
So all of us out there named Matt, or if you're a lady named Maddie, I bet you feel good right now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That's right. You can go there at behindthename.com, type in your name, and it'll tell you the history of your name.
If I can back this up, I want to go to Jocelyn.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, great. I backed up too far, and now I'm on KH.com.
No one ever knows how to spell my name, Matt.
Oh, all right. And where can they, by the way, go to ask you any questions if you have any email?
Yeah, they can go to jrnewmedia.com and click on contact and fill out the web form.
Awesome. And
all the links, Matt, that we mentioned are up by tomorrow morning on KH.com. They just click on your face and they can find all the links.
Which I feel that, by the way.
Yes, Matt does feel it.
Every time they've connected electrodes into my face. Ow! Someone's clicking on my face now. Kind of like that. Okay, Jocelyn, we have your name.
I'm German. I'm little Fraulein, okay? No, it's actually, Jocelyn was a surname, meaning it was a last name first, and then it was translated from French to German and became a first name. So that I kind of knew already. I kind of knew that.
That's not very exciting.
I like Maha's better.
Yeah, we'll call you Maha the rest of
Baby deer, huh? Is that what it was, Maha?
Yep.
Isn't that a doe?
Doe is a deer, a female
deer. Oh, sorry.
And Ray is a drop of golden stud.
Me.
A name I call myself, because the hills are alive with your questions at 650-KHAY for Jocelyn. By the way, it's been behindthename.com.
Entomology.
Lots of fun. You'll have fun all night with that if you check that out. And we have Jocelyn with us here on Cyber Night, 650-KHAY. This is Colin Ray with Little Rock.
Well, I know I did.
By the way, behindthename.com still exists. Wow. After all that 20 years. That's interesting. I wonder if 650-KHAY still works. I'm not going to try calling that right now. 100.7 KHAY. That is Garth Brooks, two of a kind, working on a full house. We aren't talking about anything computer related right now.
We're working in a full house. That's definitely
true.
It
is crowded here at the KH Santa Fe Cafe.
Always.
I don't know how the story turned to Julio Iglesias and Patti LaBelle. Oh, you can see them all at the Chumash Casino.
That's right. The Chew. That's what we call it.
At the Chew.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So yeah, we were trying to figure out. I guess where's it? SmokingGun.com. You can find out where how much people when celebrities go and play at a concert hall, what they ask for.
Yeah, it can get pretty ridiculous.
Because I one time was the Grand Marshal of the Christmas parade in the Channel Islands Harbor, and they asked me, what do I want? You know, you can have anything you want to drink.
Oh, and what did you ask for, Matt?
Root beer.
I don't think they wanted to give you root beer.
And because at the time, the gal I was dating, she was a bit of a drinker. And so, and she liked Pete's Wicked Ale, so we went with that.
Well, that's a good choice. But if you go to thesmokinggun.com, you can see all these, famous stars and their writers, meaning what they are asking for of the concert promoter to set up for them. And I know Madonna, she has to have for her children, like their playrooms have to be packed up and then set up at each venue for her children. 2 different playrooms. Yes, high demands.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, these guys, they ask for everything.
Hello, Matt Michaels. Hello, Jocelyn.
Hi, Sharon. How are you?
I'm fine. Ozzy's fine, too.
I love Ozzy. What was that, Sharon?
He's upset because Matt Michaels usually has in some of the writers. Is that what you called it?
Yes.
Matt didn't put anything in here today. There's nothing, no M&Ms, none of the M&Ms he likes.
Well, I know Ozzy likes his special water.
Okay.
Right? I think he also...
He's taking your water now, Jocelyn.
He likes Swiss chocolates, right?
I'm tired of this. I'm just going to pour root beer right into his mouth.
Ozzy, take it easy.
Thank you, Matt Michael.
No problem. I'm here to help. And so's Jocelyn with your questions at 650-KHAY about computers.
Computers.
Cyber night tonight. We're getting a lot of interesting questions. 650-KHAY. Kenny Chesney, this is what I need to do at the KH Santa Fe Cafe. Yeah!
Pete's Wicked Ale was discontinued in 2011, so you may not even remember it. And we're going to go back and a little bit further now at the end here of the podcast. We're going to go back to 2000. We're out of the 2000s. We're not in the 90s. We're in the 80s now. In 1989, this is how yours truly sounded. I was working at the station in Santa Barbara called Y97. That no longer exists either. That was discontinued. I think 97.5. Is it Spanish now? Or is it Cruise? I forget. I'm not sure what it is, being that I am up here in the Bay Area, and I don't. SmokingGun.com is also gone, by the way. But let's go back to the 80s and hear a little bit of Mike in 1989.
KHDY 187 in Lavert, Casanova. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews, and I am the Y97 substitute DJ. I'm here every once in a while, but not all the time. So you can't turn on your radio and say, okay, at exactly 4:30, Mike will be there. No, I'm here from time to time. I'm like the Wanderer. Yes. Anyway, that just wrapped up a 60-minute power play, and that was by request out to someone in Santa Barbara. We have another request, New Sensation, going out to Leila. We'll be playing that in just a little bit, but first we'll be playing Lost in Your Eyes by Debbie Gibson in just a few minutes. But let me tell you, the volunteer tutors are needed to work with needy families for only a couple of hours a week. English, Spanish volunteers are also in need. If you would like to help, call the Vista Family Literacy Project at 564-30995. They're in need of bilingual volunteers. So that number again, 564-3095, in the public interest for 197.
If you have not yet prepared your will, please listen to...
I wonder if they're still around for tutoring help.
Mike Matthews on the Nocturnal Express, working on a 60-minute power play on KHDY Santa Barbara with a song out to Holly. Eternal Flame.
We were also playing Debbie Gibson earlier. One more.
KHDY 197. Hello, I'm Mike Matthews, the 197 substitute DJ, sitting in for Guy Gooden. Now I'm going to take care of both a request and a dedication at the same time. Do I have to say this? Okay. This is to Tracy, from Tracy to Martin in Santa Barbara. I love you. That's so embarrassing. White Line.
Little child. White Lion. They also had that song, Wait Wait, I never had the chance to love you. Sounds like Cartman singing. I never want to say I love you seriously one more time. There you go. Well, that was your request and dedication, and that's the end of today's show. If you would like to call in and, I don't know, comment, make fun of me, this show was a bit long. If you'd like to talk about why I maybe went a little longer than usual with all these stories, so many stories, and if you'd like to comment on that, 510-228-4640, and with more ways to reach me, it's A-Frame.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at mikesdailypodcast.com. Email Mike now at mikesdailypodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!